We are live.
Hi, everybody. This is Maris Hurtado, and we are here with Mr. Duran and Mr. Guilin. Once again, with a very important topic for everybody. I'm dealing with a really bad head cold today, and hopefully uh, we have our thoughts here together because I'm not feeling too well. But we do have something really important to share today in the efforts that our group has been doing in the city of Calexico. In the city of Calexico, we all know, we had an election, we had new members come in, and the C project, which was previously the recall effort in Calexico, has become the C project, and we continue doing a lot of things in the community. We also expanded, Mr. Solano and I and other members of the C project decided to expand and create a nonprofit just to be able to do more things in the community because, as we know, nonprofits are able to get grants that are out there and just have more credibility with the work that they do. Our plans were to be able to keep working on things that we enjoy, first of all, and also because they're necessary in the community that have been neglected for a really long time, such as the parks, painting certain areas, graffiti issues, and overall
Oh
concerns
yeah.
about what is necessary in the community. So we want to, first of all, shout out to all of anyone who's ever been a volunteer or has ever served as a commissioner in the community, because those roles in your community are super important. So today we want to be able to talk to you guys a little bit about the issues that we're facing as commissioners and the hiccups that we're facing and that seem to be a lot more serious than we would like, and basically hopefully finding a solution to not have to go through these things and be able to work for our community freely with the support of our council. I'd like to see maybe if the other people here on our podcast want to have anything to say so far.
I
Yeah, we're
think,
we're fixing a little bit something right now.
yeah, I think it's private, right? The podcast,
Yeah, I'm doing the putting
right?
it to the
So,
group right now.
okay. So, I'm excited about this topic. There has been a lot of things happening, um, recently with the removal of the planning commission, and then recently that email that Joseph showed me, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, yeah,
we don't like to be doing these types of things where we're showing.
but it's necessary. I think it's
Yeah, but
necessary.
if we have the facts and we have the figures to show, I mean,
Hmm.
we're gonna say what we need to say. So this is where I think it all started. I think we can share this real quick. You guys
Hmm.
remember back in January 8th, okay, revitalization was already happening of Rodriguez Park, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
but there was still frustration with the other areas. There was I think a couple tennis courts, right, and a basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, so those wanted to be, those were needed to be done too. So the 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 fact that we already have the profit nonprofit going allows us to then go out and seek grants. For example, one that Benny Horton had told you about, which was which one?
It was from T-Mobile. It
T-Mobile.
was the company T-Mobile, and it was for communities, and it was actually really good. It was only 50,000, and so we had many commissioners back in January. It was January, not January. I'm sorry, December. It was actually right before New Year's, and we were writing it on New Year's to submit. That was the deadline, and many of the commissioners actually got together for this. It wasn't a very difficult grant to write. It was actually something we were able to put together really fast because it's only 50,000, and the idea about the grant was pretty simple. It was just about resurfacing the basketball courts and the tennis courts, and then to convert the tennis courts into pickleball area as well. That was the idea. So the idea was not mine alone, of course. We continued as commissioners to get together and have all of these conversations, keep in touch, continue networking, and continue on the topics of what we cared about, which was keep fixing these things that have been neglected for such a long time. Mr. Solano, obviously, and some of the commissioners have relationships that were built with the unions, the different labor unions. And why is that important? the labor unions, they team up with community volunteers, such as like in Brawley.
We don't have to go
You
too
have
deep into that. We don't have to go too deep into
Yeah,
that. But just the
that's fine.
base.
But it's a normal relationship you make with unions to get projects done in communities. So
Yeah.
the city of Calexico having that relationship was no different. We actually got the ideas from the other cities, so it was no different. It was actually no cost to low cost labor that you get to be able to do these kinds of things. So right now that we're fixing the Rodriguez Park, um, the buildings that are there, which is the snack bar, the restrooms, and the dugout, that there, all of the labor comes from the union. So these ideas, then we continue to build on them as the concerned group that we are.
Yeah.
We want good things for our community, and we're doing the actions necessary. We're making it happen. And so when this new opportunity came up and the commissioners approached me and actually we all got together, we decided it was a great idea. And so we wrote it, and then I posted it on a couple of
Don't forget you got letters of recommendations from very prominent people in the community.
That's true. This grant particularly wanted to see that groups such as the Sea Project or the Calexico Volunteer Alliance, which is the actual name of the nonprofit, had the respect and the coordination and relationships with very important people in the community. So we got some really important letters to support us because, of course, we've proven that we really love doing what we're doing. We're good at it and we're consistent. So yes, we do have the respect in the community. So that's what was submitted. It was we're very hopeful because funding is expected to be known who actually wins the grant by March of this year. So we should be knowing next month.
Okay. So all this is being done with the guides of Juan Contreras, right? City manager right now. Because the need was there. I mean, this park was used and abused by Vincent Memorial, right? And then when it comes down to then the Little League wanting to use it, and then everything is, no one takes care of it, right? So se dejó ir. So
there was so much that was neglected. It was the conversations with Vincent that were neglected for a really long time. Those were started up, and they were started up actually by the commissioners. Yeah. Because the commissioners do that kind of work where they're doing the extra that the council doesn't have time to do. Mm-hmm. Plus, the council is there to make policy. That is why you need the commissioners to be able to be that layer in between. The council members are not city managers. So, for example, the project of the park was in the hands of the city manager because that park was already a risk, a security, not security, but liability to people who would approach because it had a collapsed roof. It was completely damaged inside. So that had to be gutted out and started all over from scratch to be able to then be a better place. And who is the first to have that responsibility is your city manager. So the city manager then has all of this happening under his direction, as it should be. So the fact that we are not discussing much else out there on how we operate is because this is not, we're not building anything that's a huge brand new structure. We are replacing something as volunteers. It's really simple. It's really simple.
Yeah.
So, then we find out after that, Mr. Solano gets a phone call that, the mayor was extremely irate after having seen the flyer and had quite a bit to say about the efforts of the Sea Project and the Calexico Volunteer Alliance, which obviously we work independently. We do not have any need to ask anyone other than our board members because we have board members with regard to our future actions and present actions. Obviously, we are working to seek the coordination and cooperation of the council. They all came to visit the site early on. They all took their, selfies at the site early on.
Remember, January 8th wasn't the beginning of it. It wasn't the start of the revitalization project.
Right. We've been doing this project 2 months.
Yeah, December.
2 months.
Okay, the council was already there. They were already looking at it. They were already knowing of what was going on. Nothing changed. Okay, so I don't know if you want to get into the big juicy part. Everybody's waiting for.
Sure. Sure. So then here we are, right? All of us doing our part, having a great time. Everybody's bringing food for everybody, and everybody's happy. We're making videos of everybody. I mean, it's just such a great vibe to see our community in action, and people from other places that don't live in Calexico to come and give all their heart to be able to fix things for our kids. So then, bam, we see that it's negativity all of a sudden, hostility all of a sudden, and the vibe then completely changed what we felt. And we felt we had lost the complete support and respect from our mayor specifically.
Yeah, and
So,
this is what we're talking about. So this is a FOIA that my mom and us, we all had decided this was a good idea to come and get this, because I mean, if we're being targeted in this email, I think it's very, very important that people know that what is really going on, and not to be like how she says, giving two stories to this. It's just, it's just ridiculous. So
somebody want to read it?
yeah, I'll go for it. It says, so this is from Diana Noricumbo, sent on Thursday, January 9th. January 9th being the day after the post that you made, right? Sent to Juan Contreras, CC Lorenzo Calderon. Re Vincent Memorial MOU. It says, good morning, CM, City Manager and Councilman Calderon. This screenshot was sent to me today, attached, and raising lots of concerns. First of all, did anyone in the city give authorization to Maritza Hurtado's nonprofit to apply for funding for the Rodriguez Park?
Do you need authorization, Maritza?
Of course not.
Okay, so because if so, I'm unaware of it. And if not, then how can she go to a government entity to request funding to use for public property owned and maintained by the city?
I really wish that she would have had the ability to make a phone call to Mr. Solano and ask these questions, because that's what the feeling is here, is like we're strangers all of a sudden. But the grant was not requested from a governmental agency. It was requested from T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And T-Mobile is not a government
so
agency.
it's not a government entity. This is a grant through T-Mobile. So then she goes on to say, it is my understanding that for her to be doing this, there must be a mutual agreement between the city and this nonprofit, and there must be some type of oversight of any government grants she receives for this purpose. Again, incorrect, not government grants. And then the MOU, she basically says the solution to her worries, right? She mentions it in here, but doesn't want to,
see it.
Play it. Yeah, she doesn't want to see it. It's just there's a different feeling to this. So just keep going, watch. Also, it is my understanding that the city is meeting with Vincent Memorial regarding a potential use for the use of this park. So I am very concerned as to what is going on with Maritza and Mr. Solano's nonprofit. I don't know what Vincent Memorial or anything have to do with my mom or Solano, but good to just keep going on with the actual her concern, right? The last time I checked, there was only one city hall, not two. And to use and and the use and maintenance of public carts and buildings must go through us. What were we using? Were we having a little league game or something, like Maritza Little League or something? Like what is going on? This is really, really, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna comment on this section.
Yeah.
When there's a statement that says, where is it? There's only one city hall. But we need to remember that there's only one community. The community will always be the community. We have to have a participation. We have to have participation in our government, either as volunteers, as something, commissioners. That's what we're here for. This is our government, right? So when those kinds of statements are being made to us, all these efforts that we've been doing with our heart and soul, and to basically tell us that we're not the government, that we're not City Hall, well, we know that. We know we're not City Hall. And I also want to clarify that within all of these transactions that we've been going through to get it done, we have been asking, what do we need? Mr. Solano has been very, very persistent to always ask, what do we need? What
Any
else do you guys need?
permits, any kind of forms signed, anything of that kind.
Cooperation on our part has never been an issue, ever. And so I don't know if you guys all recall, those that have been watching what we've been going through, is that at one point, probably about 2 months ago, Mr. Solano received a bunch of forms from the Public Works Director, which is also a concern on we just don't see that that energy that we wish we would have from the Public Works Manager or Director. I'm not sure what her position is exactly called, Ms. Palomir, because Ms. Palomir has yet to visit the site. The other that hasn't inspected the site, visited the site, is our inspector, Mr. Chuck, or FIT. They all completely act as if we're not doing something that matters and that we're honored even to do this right now, and that we would wish that we would have their support, but on the contrary, we're being told that we don't. And so with this kind of statement that there's only one city hall, not two, I mean, again, we know we're not city hall, but also please recognize that we are very valuable as the citizens that want action. That the citizens that want action after the fact that this has been neglected way too long. There's not one bathroom that works in all of the city. Not one bathroom for these kids works. Not one. So if we need to do what we need to do, and we're going to be there every single Saturday, every single Saturday, even in between the week we're there, okay? Spending our own money, and if anyone wants to look at the receipts, of course we have our receipts. We're doing what we need to do the right way, and to just get this kind of negativity, that hurt. It definitely did. I don't know if you want to read that last one, Joseph.
Yeah. Juan, please look into this and the legalities and liabilities of what is going on and keep me informed. If there is no permission by the city to go after such funding, please put a stop to this immediately. Thank you. I was like, okay.
That
Okay.
makes no sense when, for example, this grant request entailed a total of $150,000. Okay, it was going to be the $50,000 from the grant from T-Mobile, another about I think half of that for the free labor. So the truth is that all of that was going to be paid for. The city was going to be saving. It will save if we get that grant so much money in free labor, plus another $50,000, and all it is to replace something that's been out there in the damaging sun all these years.
Yeah.
So it is really disappointing to see that that the mayor has decided to become so vicious, and it's very disappointing when you saw that the campaign that they managed as Team Calexico was all about sports, but yet we're totally neglecting the fact that we need to calm our emotions down if there's some kind of personal problem, because apparently this still directs itself quite a bit to me as a person. And I want to make it clear that whatever we're doing in this group, it's not me by myself. We have tons of people that it's our think tank, our supporters, people that we gather. We just had a meeting last night about this.
Yeah.
So this is not just myself. I didn't come up with the idea to apply for this grant. I didn't even come up necessarily with the idea in becoming what Mr. Solano has now pushed me towards as well. Is okay, fine. We are gonna fix things now, Mr. Solano. I'm with you. There's Mr. Solano. I can't read what he's saying, but
we are autonomous and independent. We don't have no reason to ask permission to apply for a grant as a main profit organization. Calexico Volunteer Alliance Group will never ask permission to apply for a grant when it's offered to us. Amen.
And I think also what's important, and Mr. Solano knows that, is that we are pouring our heart and soul into this. No one pays us. So when you have volunteers like that and you're disrespecting them like that in the background, I'm so glad I requested that email. Yeah. When I said that something was wrong and I requested that, I could not believe when I read that it was really happening. Because
okay, there you go. We have received water, sodas, Gatorade, and food. Everything has been donated. We also have been putting the money in our own pocket. I will start to paddle Rena Blanca Morales, Maritza Hurtado, and myself.
So right now, I guess what it is that we want to be transparent with everyone, right? Number one, we want everyone to know these projects are so important to us. We're not stopping. Mr. Solano and I talked a lot about, maybe we should then just, retire from these efforts because of the negativity.
Well, here's the kicker. Here was what I was like, wow, should we go to the length to do this? As far as to put our posts, crop it, and put it in an email, that is just like wow.
Can I read that email
Target.
real quick? I mean that post.
It's the one that we
Oh,
showed
okay.
earlier. That was from
Okay.
January 8th.
Which is pretty much detailing that you guys are doing a good thing.
So 33 minutes in, someone I guess took a picture of it. They're watching us. They're seeing what we're doing. I mean, if you want to tell me that it's not targeted, okay, whatever you want. But this is insane. I mean, anybody wants to see it, I think we're gonna post it too, right? You have the PDF to post it so people can see it clearly.
Sure. I think it's important too to know how much work goes behind writing a grant. Grants are actually something that the city needs. We need that. So when we started the nonprofit, we started asking for assistance from the county, from the bank, from all these different people that we know should be supporting the nonprofit efforts in our community for parks. We focused on that. We actually focused on that to bring that grant money and donation dollar to the community. That's what it's about. Calexico doesn't have that.
Home Depot put in.
Depot helped us. They sure did. Staples is helping us too. Whenever we're going to have stuff to do with the Fuente helps us. Selwick, even though they're not open anymore, Selwick family has always been so helpful to us. We are a community group. We built something that's a community within a community. And it's very strong, and we're responding to that strength that we know we built by continuing the good stuff. Writing grants is not easy. That grant, we wrote it on one day's time, on New Year's Eve. We all could have been doing something else, especially me.
Also, from what I understood, that grant writing on the last meeting, that was last minute. I mean, that was looking like it was desperate. They were desperate to put someone. So you want this conspiracy corner right here, but yeah, I mean, it may have something to do with this. I mean, I don't know.
So what is wrong with a community group that wants to do things for free? What is wrong with a community group that wants to clean up parks? What is wrong with a community group that put the structure together to be able to grow and get grants from people like T-Mobile to bring to this community? Why? We actually have a lot more doors open for us right now as nonprofits. What's wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that unless you're the mayor of Calexico and you're anti-sports now all of a sudden. And let me address the MOU thing, okay? The MOU thing is your solution, Ms. Mayor. It is. And let's remember, MOUs have different purposes, and they're going to address different purposes and needs, right? So when you address the need of the use of that facility by another entity, which is Vincent, yes, that needs an MOU to be addressed with the proper language when you're talking about those relationships with the school. However, if you're going to have something with us, I already drafted it, as a matter of fact. I don't have it here, but I drafted an MOU, and I'll be honest, I used an example of one of the MOUs that was submitted to the city by a program that's going to work with the police department. I used their verbiage so that way, if the MOU that was used with the police department is good enough as far as legal language, then what I was doing should be very, very acceptable as well, right? But then again, you don't know who's talking to who as far as within the city to say, this is the person that's going to accept to sit down with you and shape up an MOU. We haven't gotten to that point because our public works director, which I feel she should be doing this, hasn't even bothered to come to the site. Yeah. So what do we do for now? We go on without it, right? Because our city manager is working fine right now with us just to get this done without an MOU. We are just working with each other based on trust. So then, okay, we're not being trusted anymore. Understood. So let's do an MOU then. Let's go ahead and accept the one that I already wrote, and let's move on. We have our insurance. We have our status. What we have as far as status and what we are as far as being structured. I'm going to criticize the fact that a lot of the organizations that already work with the city don't have that same structure. They don't even look into it. They don't even care. So why are we being targeted then? Why are we being, and that's okay because we have our house in order. We have our house in order. But as we continue to say, Mr. Solano actually will agree with me, is that the city doesn't have a structure. And the city needs to work on their policies so that when a group like us comes in, which we are here already, then you have a policy already that will entail exactly what you're going to ask of us. But this has been willy-nilly treatment with regard to what it is that we're trying to do from day one.
Yeah.
But we're working on it. We're staying positive anyway. We're, doing our thing, staying out of everybody's lane, right? So what do we got to have the mayor come all pushing herself into this lane? Like we're strangers. That's what it is. It's hard to understand why we got to this point. Real hard.
Yeah. Well, things like the attacks that were happening on rents and raves were not a coincidence. Let's just say that.
I know that you tried to open up doors for communication.
Yeah.
And the response that you received was that, we're not ethical, I think is what was told to you.
No, we're not a credible news source.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're not reputable. We're not reputable.
Not reputable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do we have to hear that from our mayor? Why? What did we do to deserve that? Bully.
I don't know. I think what we should be doing now probably is getting a T-shirt and putting only one city hall, not two. I think that's what we're gonna have to do now.
Or how about not reputable?
Or not reputable. There you go. That's what I had gotten the idea because I was like, oh, that's a good one too.
Not reputable.
There's
nice.
saying something. If there's any community leaders that believe that we're not in compliance, all they have to do is look us up under the IRS state, and also don't forget the state registry. We're all in compliance in all three areas. Yep.
Yeah. There's organizations
here's a tease too to our next one. We're actually going to be doing some contractors.
What do you mean?
Some exposés, right? Of some stuff that we found on some contractors in the city of Calexico.
Well, the thing is that we want to make sure that everybody understands that these commissioners being, moved around and that the planning commission was closed, that's not normal. When you close the planning commission, what are they hiding? We don't like that, especially when you're working with a situation that you have no structure. The city council has no fee schedule. That we already looked into, right? And then you start saying that you're going to be giving preference to certain developers, like that one Ray Robin guy, right? Really looked into him. So since the city council doesn't feel that we should participate, then we'll be able to do our own little
side research and post it on our own channels.
Yeah, I think we should know what Ray Robin, for example, is about. What other money, because I think this guy got like a $20 million grant for that homeless transitional building down in Imperial. So, there's a lot of bigger grants than just a teeny tiny $50,000 one that we'd like to address, that we'd like to bring out to the open and be transparent about, because if we're being bullied into, apparently we're not transparent, but we want to be transparent, we're asking for cooperation. But now that we have, the concern about big developers like Ray Robin or even Alex Peroni, I mean, come on, Alex Peroni's a huge developer. He's the one that brought in most of the cannabis to the community, right? All those kinds of big projects in the community are run by people that are not going to be questioned. That's where it's frustrating. That the commissioners, all this work that your commissioners have been doing for you and this community, investigating parks, investigating how to make things better in downtown, right? They don't even answer your phone calls anymore. So honestly, why do you want to even run to be a commissioner? Right? I understand they posted that again, that they're requiring one more time.
Oh yeah, I actually wanted to say something on that because today I did go to the City of Calexico City Hall, and I did ask about that. Is that was our applications going to be honored? Right, because we put them in since December, January, when it opened up the first time for commissions and all that kind of stuff, right? But then they went through all the changes in the new year, and then we're here now, where now they posted the new one for February 28th. Okay, so I go to the city hall just to make sure that everything was right, and I asked the city clerk, and she says, "No, I think that's fine. You should be fine. Nothing should be wrong with that." I was like, "Okay, cool." So then I still, knowing me, I don't want to be left out. So I gave them my new one. I gave them a new one, 3 new copies of what they needed. So then I leave, going, and leaving is Juan Contreras. I was like, hey, are they going to honor the commissioner's applications? He's like, they should. I don't see why not. Like, oh, okay. All right. So then you look online, and Team Calexico is saying that supposedly you need to send in a new one. Only on Team Calexico's page, they're telling you need to go get a new one. You need to put in a new application. So
I wouldn't know because they blocked me from that one.
Yeah, but the information is two different things. So who's right? Is it the city municipality right? Or is it the Team Calexico that they always say that they're right?
Too
See
confusing.
what's happening here? It's just ridiculous. So
Well,
we're at 30
what's
minutes,
interesting?
so
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes. What do you guys think?
Well, I
Wanna
think
keep going?
go for it, Carlos.
let's keep on going.
you
Keep on
have-
going.
you
Yeah.
have-
Well,
Already
I'm just listening, and it's to me it's incredible. This is very important what you guys are doing, and this is why people should get involved in politics, because politicians, as is evidenced here by this letter says a lot. It says a lot about Ms. Noricumbo, about her attitudes, about the way that she views herself, the way that she views the constituents. In this case, you guys. She should be happy that. And whoever sent her this, I mean, this screenshot was sent to me today. Somebody sent it to her.
Yeah.
So whoever sent it to her, instead of being mad because they're mad, this is what this email, the feeling of behind this email, they're mad. They're mad that you guys are fixing the park. Does that make any sense? It doesn't make no sense at all. So this is why it's very important that people get involved and speak up, because politicians will take. I mean, you'll vote for them, right? Because they run like a political campaign. For example, a promise is made, a promise is kept, right? Like they say or change or whatever Noricumbo's political slogan was. But then they get in office, and then they're acting like this. I mean, this is very. There's a good job on your part, Maritza, that you were able to get this email, because it says a lot. It says a lot.
I pushed her too to get it.
It says a lot, and it's very important that you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
It's the way that it's the way that the government's supposed to work, and it's it's the way checks and balances.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when the attitude that the mayor and Thailinda have, that they're so prominently pushing out there on how the planning commissioners have no value. They just want to throw you out. And that is not cool, because we should be part of the community's structural formation as we move along. They should be supportive. They should have wanted the planning commissioners to have stayed and to have supported them to learn more, to be there for them. But they dissed them. They said that they had, poor supportive role, because supposedly they weren't showing up. But then you saw the commissioners very angry and say, hey, you never even bothered to call me. And that's what's happening here, is that you have lack of communication. Who doesn't like to talk to Mr. Solano? Because in all of this effort for our part, it's not just money Hurtado. That's what the problem here is. Why does this come from a hateful place in her heart towards someone like myself, when I'm not the only one in this thing? This is a huge project. It's huge. We have so many people involved. Just the union guys, I think it's like 20 each time that they show up. I mean, are we all bad people all of a sudden? Strangers that you can't pick up the phone to understand? Again, she was there at the beginning for the photo op. That she did do, and took off immediately, but did not speak to any of the commissioners there. So it's like, we're not just cattle. We're here to participate, engage, try to motivate people to engage. That's been us from the beginning.
So if she was there for the photo op, then what happened? And from that first day until that email, in between, what happened? Why did she flip?
Because we were getting too big for our britches, in her opinion. We were stomping all over her. She was saying that there's not two city halls, there's only one, and it goes through her. That's basically what she's saying here.
I mean, but
what I interpreted from it.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Maritza. So you're probably going to be able to answer this more accurately. I mean, a mayor, is that like a governor? I mean, sorry for my ignorance, but it seems like
no. In our city, it's described as a weak mayor, WEAK, weak mayor. And in that kind of structure, you elect your city council members, and you just rotate your mayor to be able to be the face of the council for different events or ribbon cuttings and stuff like that, and to be able to be the chair during the meeting. But
So
as far as being,
There
they
is
do not.
no elected position for a mayor.
No, it's not. Not
Is
not Calexico.
the
And they do not have city management authority. They do not.
okay? So who has more authority, city manager or mayor?
Well, it depends. It depends on what we're talking about. Here in this case, this is the responsibility of a city manager to take care of his facilities.
Run the city.
So they are free. So they are free of harmful circumstances. That is him. He has to make sure that every area of our city is free of liability for insurance purposes. That's not the council. The council gave us the direction and the policy already. He follows that policy.
So then she's not staying in her lane right now.
She's definitely meddling in something that she could have addressed it in a very different way by asking the people who are not strangers to her and have learned how awesome of efforts that we're doing, and to have been more supportive once the emotional part of her feelings were, at ease, that she could have understood that. But, I'm gonna throw in something, okay? At what point will, the commissioners have any authority? Because again, these are commissioners that have been around me doing all of this stuff. I'm joining the commissioners in everything, because everything that commissioners do about downtown, of course, we all want to be able to have that think tank. That's what we do. We love it. Is that wrong? So at what point do we even have commissioners again? Why do you even want to ask for them? And then to have to interview them? Come on. Nobody interviewed the mayor. Nobody interviewed the council. They did that one. They did that one forum, but the forum was created by Kylinda's mom. So that wasn't an interview. So come on, let's be fair. It's not like we're not watching really what's going on here. And it's just picking and choosing what you want to support. And in this case, if you're not supporting the recreational activities of the city and the people that want to support it and make it better, then what are you doing in that position?
Yeah.
I think Mr. Solano gives a good explanation of what the mayor is. Yeah. Okay.
So kind of blocks it out though.
Solano says, no, it's not like a governor. The mayor position is the mayor position is only a symbolic position. The mayor does not have any more authority than the other four council members. All 5 council members are equal. It only happens to be that there needs to be a council person to preside over the meetings, and when they want to address something to the council, normally it's the mayor. So it seems like she doesn't really understand her position. She kind of thinks she's the president, or the dictator or something. Because that's like the feeling that when you read this, it's like
it's like it goes through me or nothing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a power trip, going on there, and that's kind of dangerous, when you, I mean, it's only Calexico, right? But it's if you guys weren't here, like if you guys were not here standing speaking up, would anybody else notice these type of discrepancies in her attitude? Probably not.
They do. The thing is that a lot of people a lot of people don't want to say nothing, man. And that's what I keep coming to whenever I have conversations with community members, is that it's always like, no, I don't want to say anything because then I'm gonna get in trouble, or
no, screw it. This is I love this.
Yeah,
you gotta.
For me is never going to happen. I'm always gonna say something.
And there should not be any fear of retaliation, because this is the way that the government works.
Yeah,
it's the people, it's the politicians. Because this is why America's great. Because you have the politicians, and then you have
checks and balances.
You have checks and balances. Yeah. And if people are out of line, well, guess what? You get recalled. You know what I mean? Like, like what happened to to Urenia. So I love this. This is why I know you don't agree with it, Joseph, but this is why I like what's going on with the Calexico board. Let the process take place. If the people could do it, let them do it. That's my take on that.
Yeah.
And I'm this is amazing. I love this. So
Here's something Solano. You get credit to Pat, Maritza, Blanca, and because these are three strong women that have always been on my side and have always advised me. These are three ladies, knowledgeable ladies, are very well knowledgeable, and they are the persons that I always ask to how about to go things. I'm knowledgeable in my own ways, but then have been very helpful. But they have been very helpful, and I will continue working with these strong community members. We need more community members like them to get involved.
and isn't it? I mean, isn't I think it's amazing that you guys, came together, and you
Well,
guys.
tell the story of how you met Solano.
I had never met Solano before. I met him at the beginning when I was first taking the first signatures back then, because I knew his son, and his son had always helped out to fix the parks and stuff like that when I was doing softball for the girls. And so I stopped by his house, and I mean, the rest is history. All the neighbors came over.
Solano comes out and he's like, "Hey, well, what's going on?" And my mom is just full of energy, full of hey, let's greet all these people, and Solano's like, "Hell yeah, sign me up."
He was, he was sold right there. But honestly, also what you guys got and what we got was an excellent team. An excellent team of people who believe in each other, hold on to each other, face everything together, the ups and the downs. This is a down. This actually is a downer. It really is. It's not like it's a cheese, you guys, because if it was a cheese plate, I'd be laughing. But it's really a downer. It's a downer that makes me feel like I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I even bothering, right? Because I even got approached by Little League, because Little League also needed some help with their structure. They couldn't go out there because they had never sat down to do the proper structure. Now that I'm doing that, now there's obviously some people out there that are trying to say that, I'm feeling, I don't need to be called, those kinds of names. Nobody needs to have to go through this kind of thing when all you're trying to do is do things that are better. But because we rub a mayor the wrong way, apparently there's quite a bit of groups that she has out there that are willing to be slamming people on social media about these issues. And it's like, I know how to ignore. I mean, I've been to this rodeo already so many times in so many years. I know how. But I'm also a normal person with a normal family, with a normal failing business in downtown that needs to go to work too and make my own money. So when I go and I do and I invest all this time, that's taking time from my life. But we do it anyway. Same thing with Mr. Solano, even though he's retired. This is taken away from his family, all of us. And so we are not investing time to want to be City Hall. We're not investing time to want to take official positions, because since we started the recall, that is what we promised each other. The committee, the core committee, promised we were not running for a position because we didn't want to have power. We wanted to participate. We kept our promise, but some people did not. And so obviously we're okay. I know we're okay because we kept our promise, and our promise was to keep working on the community. And, we've got a bump in the road now. This next project, we're almost completed with the one we're at right now. That probably should be by this weekend. We got all those structures done. All we're going to have to do is put the refrigerator and the different things inside of the snack bar. If we get approved, that's going to be the day that we're going to think, okay, do we have our city council as our friend, or do we have the city council as our foe? That's the day. Right now, we will see. Maybe we can have conversations now that are adult-like, that are not behind closed doors with such negative, hostile tones to them. And for people to calm down and understand that there's actually groups out here that are really trying their best to do the thing. And let them be. And instead of hurting them and trying to sabotage their work, let's support them. Because any of us that have businesses, that come and do business, that visit, that live in Calexico, everyone is a friend to Calexico. Everyone. And everyone should have great parts and good things. And so when you start to separate, saying, oh, well, Marisa doesn't live in Calexico, she shouldn't have an opinion, then why am I coming every Saturday from my home early in the morning to go work on your park, Ms. Mayor? It doesn't matter where you live. My business is big enough, and I am very fortunate to have had all these years as a Calexican this way. So I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and nobody can stop me. So I rather ask, to once again learn that it's really important to stay in each other's lanes when we exist, and that if we're going to cooperate, let's cooperate. But banging on each other this way, okay, banging on each other this way in the name of kids' sports, that's just wrong. We've gotten to a point of no return.
And I think that's how we'll wrap it up. Well said, right there.
So, let me just say something real quick. Maritza, you can't quit. I mean, because other people are not quitting. You know, it's important to always stand up.
No, I'm not. I put my application in still. You know, I could have not. I could have been like, who cares?
Yeah.
I still put my application in.
Yeah, it's
I'm
important.
gonna face them. I need to.
Yeah.
So, whether they like it or not, they were trying to participate. Ni modo. Get used to it. That's how it works. So, anything else, Carlos?
No, that's pretty much it. I don't know. That's
all right, guys. We're gonna be posting. Yeah, we're gonna be posting right now this PDF of this email, so that way everybody gets it. And everybody can look at it clearly. Kind of blurry right here. So, all right.
I want to thank you to everyone for your support on behalf of the C Project and on behalf of the Calexico Volunteer Alliance, all the work that we do, all the volunteers that join us. Thank you so much for your continued support. We're not going away. We're just going to get stronger.
Thank you.